Hi everyone, I'm Benita. Welcome to our information session. Thank you for making it on a Saturday morning. Um, just before we begin, I'd like to invite all of you for a short grounding practice. Um, just finding a comfortable seating, adjusting your posture for however you need that to be, placing your feet on the floor. And just slowly bringing your attention to your breath first. Just noticing how you're arriving and allowing yourself to take a couple of deep breaths. And as you do that, I'd like you to invite your attention to any nature elements around you in your space that you can directly see or have access to, or just bring into awareness the ecosystem that you're currently a part of. The trees, the plants, the little birds, insects, little animals, living living beings, humans around you. And as you do that, sensing into what is alive for you. If there is any particular element in that ecosystem that you're able to connect to. Anything that's helping you be more present in the moment. It could also be sounds that you're present to. And as you do that, again, inviting your awareness to your body and noticing how that's making you feel. And inviting 3 more breaths, more intentional, deep breaths. Just receiving that element into your system. Thank you for doing this practice. And would love to invite maybe a one-word chat if you feel called to as to what's alive for you, the nature element that you're connecting to, or just how you're feeling today.
You want me to say something? I mean,
You can put
based
it
on.
on the chat or say
Oh,
something, up to you. Yeah.
oh no. So I was just thinking of my surroundings. I'm in Kerala presently. So yeah. So everything we have a lot of trees around us. So I
Mm.
think the trees was what I was thinking of.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. We have water, connected and rooted. And welcome more people who arrived as I was leading the practice. Welcome again. Yeah, thank you. I'm alive to like this really cool wind that is there right now that's nourishing me. So yeah, yeah, thank you for your sharings. I'm just gonna share what the next maybe 1 hour is going to look like for us. This program is firstly very special to all of us here as a team. And as we are sharing this, there's a lot of things we want to share with you. So I just want to give you a little bit of an overview of what we might be covering a little bit today. And there will be space to answer any of the questions, doubts, curiosities you're bringing in today. So this is basically the fair process we'll follow. But before we start, I'd love to just name and invite the team that's present here today. I'm Vinita. Um, I'm cur- I'm I'm from Mumbai and based currently in Ladakh right now. But I'm one of the team members, and then we have the others. I guess I'll just allow them to introduce themselves one by one, just inviting Tanya, and then we can take the lead.
Hi, I'm Tanya. My pronouns are she, her. I'm the founder of Qualia, and I'm really excited to be here today. And it's so nice to see some familiar and some very new faces. So yeah, really looking forward to this hour together. Thank
Okay. Hi, I'm Batul. Um, yeah, I'm based in Nagpur and I'm very excited to be here. Very excited to see what's going to come.
Hi, I'm Tanvi and I'm based in Delhi and really happy, joyously here on an early morning as well. And happy to see you all.
I think we also have Vaishnavi.
Yeah.
Vaishnavi, if you want to.
Yeah, hi everyone. Good morning. I'm Vaishnavi, pronounced as she, her, and I'm based in Bangalore. So yeah, just feeling cool and chill along with the weather that's outside and in this group right now. And yeah, excited to see what's going to emerge today. Thank you.
So I'm gonna start with just taking us through a little bit about how this course came to be. So this is actually, I would say, like a kind of culmination of a 10 plus year long journey of engaging with the international adventure therapy community and of course gathering different sort of approaches to do this work. So I'll briefly introduce Qualia, which is our adventure nature-based therapy practice. We are based in Dharamshala and offer nature and based therapy programs with the local Gadi community. Um, a lot of the work is about how to practice in ways that are culturally also safe and grounded. um, the programs that we offer are sometimes with groups, sometimes working one-on-one. Um, you can also just look at online on our Instagram for just to know more. So I don't want to spend too much time with that. But essentially, one big piece of the work we do is to offer trainings and to build a community for this work in this part of the world. Um, and this particular course came about. So if you switch to the next slide, I'd like to show you just some of the AdventureWorks team. So um, over the past 10 years, every 3 years, there are these international adventure therapy conferences where we all gather and look at the latest research and practices and trainings that are on offer. And so in 2018, we had all gathered for the International Adventure Therapy Conference in Australia. And we gathered for a pre conference workshop, which was called the Cave Think Tank. where a few of us from around the world, probably from, I think, 17 different countries, decided to look at what training looks like in each of our contexts, and then bring that together to look at some of these kind of common ingredients. And it has then gotten sort of compiled into a kind of publication that you can find online. But it was a really interesting process because we started looking at what are these kind of common ingredients to do this work in ways that are safe for participants and safe for the land that we are on, safe for the local communities and for ourselves as practitioners. And then from then onwards, we've been talking about how to make practices like this, again, accessible around the world. And since the last conference in Norway, we have had a tie-up with AdventureWorks Australia. I'll tell you a little bit about them in a bit. But we realized that there may be some merit in a intercultural partnership. And again, realizing that that could support both practices and countries to deepen into their ways of working. And so that's what this sort of partnership has been about. It's been about doing research together, figuring out how the training is received in our context. So now the course that we're going to share with you today is kind of like a sister course to the course that AdventureWorks follows, and it's been adapted for the Indian context by this lovely team here and others who contributed and couldn't be here today. There are also ongoing research and writing collaborations, and we really found it has really supported us to see what is shared and then what is also deeply personal to our context. One of the as soon as we established that partnership, we've also been sending Indian practitioners to do the course in Australia. So that's something we also facilitate. If you look in these photos, you'll find some familiar faces, Stanley and Batul, at the course in Australia, which is a little different format, but essentially the same modules and same kind of style, really, which is different structure. You go to the next slide, then we'll also see this is what I just wanted to keep this slide to give a sense of also what the terrain and course looks like in Australia. A lot of us on this team who will be a part of the facilitation team have also been to Australia to complete this course and to develop it there with the team. And this is us last year at the immersion. So last year was the first time that we brought the immersion and the course to India. And we had the team from AdventureWorks with us. And this is all of us sitting in a circle at Dharmalai, where we will be returning again for the course this time. So just a little bit about AdventureWorks. I'm just going to, you can of course go through, they have a really detailed website as well, but AdventureWorks is founded by an incredible team of Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal practitioners. They offer training and research, they offer one-on-one work, they also do take groups out. They've been a key kind of part of formalizing the field in Australia and also formulating like the ethics around this work and really contributed to the research as well in the field. So this is just a little visual of some of their projects. They've worked with many different populations over the years. And this is the training team. So this is largely, along with others' inputs, this is largely the team that has put, it's a very diverse team of people who's put this course together. So like I said, there are some Aboriginal folks, there are some somatic practitioners, some Gestalt therapists. I also see some educators. We have like social workers, someone who does equine assisted work. So it's really very diverse therapeutic approaches as well coming together to create and offer this. And over years, actually, have worked on offering this. Yeah. And also, I would like to say the course is like an evolving, it's evolving and a living process that we're in. So it's not static in any way. Everyone who joins in contributes to it and co-creates it. A little bit about like what adventure and nature-based therapy is, I think. But before we move to that, actually would like to speak a little bit to the shared kind of just a little bit more maybe about the partnership around the shared values, and why we decide to do this and offer this together. So some of the shared kind of components are around like one is a decolonizing perspective. So it's really so much about not just in terms of how we relate to land, but also how we relate to participants coming into the course. So this course is designed to help you find your unique way of doing this work, to help you find a way to root this in the skills you already have, in the knowledge that you already have. So that's what I really like about it. Like, it's not a how to do this kind of course. It's a more like, let's figure out what you're bringing to this and how you want to turn that into something that is meeting also your hopes for your work in the world. So we'll talk more about that we're actually facilitating you through that process. And yeah, I think that's why this really works in different cultural contexts, because that's what it really guides you to do. We with AdventureWorks, we have a shared kind of commitment to like also shaking shit up, is what we call it, which is that we really feel a lot of discontentment with some of the existing systems and support that is offered to people seeking like mental health care. And we really challenge some of those notions from our own formal education and are committed to our own unlearning. And so we are really kind of committed to that and feeling like, yeah, there are certain norms that need to be challenged, and that we also need to challenge ourselves and how we are in these relationships and look at power in ways that is very restorative, actually. Where also there is an intentional like stepping in and out of anything we do. So we'll also practice that. We even practice that in a little way today with Vinita, like helping us to step in with that beautiful grounding. So we really like, there are certain kind of just practices that are embedded and values that are embedded in how we work. So we'll be experiencing that during the immersion and the course as well. Yeah, safety is a big piece. So that's something we'll really look at the nuances of safety, not just physical and emotional, but also cultural safety. So I think in many ways, this is also a really incredible course for outdoor leaders who are often we're not like, I'm also trained as an outdoor leader. So I know that we're not often taught about those aspects of safety. There's a lot of focus on physical and now even emotional safety, but not so much these other realms of how do we really make participants feel safe. We very much, in how we view nature, we really view nature as we're in collaboration with nature. So one of our modules, I'll talk about them in a bit, is also looking at humans as nature. So even the positioning of nature is very important in how we go about it. Yeah, and we really value diversity. And that's why it's also this massive team. Like, if you've seen the brochure, you'll also see that it's quite a big team for a course like this. And that is by design. It's so that you get different views and perspectives on how to do this work. Because actually, all of us are very different in the ways that we offer this. And so there's that much more, for you to gain from it. And yeah, I hope that also brings each of us closer to our way of working. So yeah, just a little bit about adventure nature-based therapy. I won't spend too long. But maybe if you could pull up that slide. Essentially, it is like an umbrella term for many different kinds of therapies that collaborate with nature for healing. So I'll just name a few, and then we also have a slide for all the different like names that now, that people are also referring to. And so there's also like more horticultural work. There is like equine related work, which is working with horses. So just have a look at all the different terms. And these are the more kind of emerging modalities. And you might place yourself on any of these on the spectrum of, diverse ways in which this can. So people who combine somatic work with it. There are people who work more with communities. There are people who work with children, of course. Then they have bush like kindergarten, forest kindergartens also they're called. And in our team as well, maybe actually I will speak to that later, jumping. If you could go to the previous slide. Thank you. So just to say that this is an emerging kind of field and a huge need for this kind of approach to healthcare. There are ways to do this across the whole spectrum of needs. It can be for individuals, for families, for groups, communities. It attempts to address like the personal, interpersonal, and systemic kind of causes as well of mental illness and us being unwell. It looks at us as beings existing within an ecosystem, and so if our ecosystem isn't well, we're not well. So that's sort of the approach. Like I said, it can also be applicable for people across lifespans. So can work even if you're working with, say, like a geriatric population or little babies. There are so many ways to get creative and have fun with it. And I think more than anything, we really see it as a kind of modality that meets the crises of our time. So it really meets the needs that we're not only focusing on the individual, but we're really zooming out and looking at, okay, how do we heal this relationship that we have with our world and with our ecosystems? So it's very diverse, and we're also hoping that we can show you that through introducing our different international colleagues who are doing this work in different ways, so that you again get a sense of that. And so we will be sharing that with you as well during the course. And this is kind of the model that we look at, because like I said, we're looking at the whole person existing within a system. And so this is just the framework that we'll be using. And we're also really, we really care about ethics, and how we do this work is very, very important. It's the most important thing. More than what we do, it's how we do it. So this is just a glimpse at the Outdoor Health Australia, which is their national association, is the ethical principles that they framed, and we've also reviewed them and added and contributed to them. And just that we'll also be talking about that during the course. How do you do this work in really ethical ways? And this is just a glimpse of the modules. So maybe I'll just speak to this and maybe even just read out the names of the modules just out loud. And these modules are embedded in the immersion that we'll be together for about 6 days. So we'll weave these pieces in, and we'll also weave them into our online components as well. So yeah, I'll just say some of the names of the modules out loud so you can really sink into all the places we'll be traveling to during this course. So living values and ethics, humans as nature, experiencing the bio, psycho, socio, cultural, and ecological dimensions, decolonizing and anti-oppressive and liberating practices, supporting reflexive practices, designing outdoor and adventure therapies, facilitating therapeutic groups outdoors, micro-counseling skills, safety, risk, and professional scope, and trauma-informed ways of being. And so we bring all of this together through the immersion and the online components. And through all of this, you bring together your personal practice framework. And then we help you look at the professional scope of practice. We believe that a lot of you already come with some of these pieces. And so we maybe at the end of it, you can identify like, okay, what are the pieces that I sit really comfortably with and even perhaps have something to offer from? And what are the pieces that I feel like would be nice to get some continued training in or deepen into, so that you should be able to answer that question by the end of the course. And yeah, we maybe arrange also some kind of skill exchange where we learn from each other. So there are many possibilities. But yeah, just to name that these are the modules. I'll pass on to Benita.
Thank you. And now we come to like the Indian context adapted version of this program, which I feel like has been a journey of coming to this and offering you. So we really see this program as a 3-month journey, starting from really today. Like today is the start of this journey, if we name it, the information session is that start of the journey, leading up to the end of to the beginning of December. And we do see that journey to be continuing even afterwards, and I'll get to that. At the moment, the way the course is structured is very similar to what Tanya mentioned. It's like a stepping in and then a stepping out. But in that process, we're hitting on a couple of different components. The general structure of the program includes 3 online group calls, which will happen mostly in October. The purpose of these 3 group calls is to come together to also kind of prepare to go to the immersion that is going to be happening in Bir in November, as well as learn a little more about the coursework and Moodle resources and how to engage with the content that we will be engaging with also at the immersion and afterwards. So really those 3 group calls is a way of really preparing to step in while also starting that process of the course modules that Tanya covered around a reflexive practice of some of those components of what that means for our practice as practitioners, as educators, as in other fields that you come from. We will also during that time have one-on-one call with one of the facilitators as a way to really support deepening of that intention of what brings you to the program, as well as what would you like to receive and give during the program. I think it's really important, uh, and we see that as really important that we identify what are some intentions, values, needs that will help you feel supported throughout the program to receive in the ways that makes most sense to you. So that one-on-one call is really about that, which leads me then to the immersion piece, which is the major piece of this particular 3-month journey. It's a residential immersion in Bir, where the way we have curated these 6 days is trying to give you a glimpse of all the things mentioned in the slide here, which involves cultural and place-based grounding practices, experiential nature-based group processes. We might also think of showcasing some of the ways there are different facilitators in this team, if you see, and we all come with different styles and ways of offering this work in the world. And you may also get to see how some of us have adapted it to our context during the immersion, and also take from what speaks to you. So we're really trying to give as much breadth and length to how this work can be adapted, and we can get creative around it during the immersion by actually experiencing it ourselves first. So the purpose of the immersion is that we experience it and we learn and we integrate it as we go on the way. Um, a large part of the immersion is also sitting with what Tanya said, with like the discomfort and shaking shit up, is like to sit with what the systems are doing and really do that in that space by connecting to the land and what the stories of the lands have been, of that land and other lands have been. And that's something that we really it's an important component of how we hold conversations also during the immersion. So that's a big piece that will keep coming up during the immersion. And we invite you to also kind of consider that. Yeah. After the immersion is over, after the 6-day residential piece is over, we recognize that it can be a lot. We recognize that a lot of things can kind of come up emotionally, professionally, personally. A lot of questions can be alive. And really, the idea of the immersion is to go with questions. We're not looking for answers there and then in those 6 days. We want those questions and conversations to be a conversation, a discussion, something that can grow into something we imagine together as a community or otherwise. And so the other 3 online sessions post the immersions are a kind of stepping out of of that experience and really trying to contextualize it to the work, to also digest and see what insights are coming up, what are you attending to, and how you may want to think of introducing or practicing this work with your existing work and integrate that. So it's really to support that process for each one of us. And in one of those 3 online group calls, we would also be bringing in somebody from either the Australian team or a supportive guest speaker who can really support us with that process of stepping out and share their experience around this work. And this is how we've kind of adapted some part of the course from AdventureWorks and then made some changes to support what is most useful to India. Yeah. The other part of the program, which is not written here, but we do hope after this, perhaps in the first half of next year, to really see if we can have a continued learning journey by bringing in some more opportunities for professional development. It may look like us inviting speakers or putting out webinars and stuff. It's still a work in progress, but we really hope that this is not the end, but it's the beginning of a journey that stays like a continued journey for the next few months and maybe a year or so. So that's what our hopes are. And we really hope it opens up more possibilities of engaging with this larger ecosystem. I also want to name, as I mentioned earlier, that we have a beautiful, very diverse team. That's some of us are present here. Some of us will be present and the immersion, and during the course of the online sessions, you may get to engage with them online and in person. We also have facilitators who are people with lived experience and who represent the communities and indigenous communities they belong to. And would really encourage you to have a look at the brochure to find out more about them, because they are a really big, important piece of how we have curated this program. I will pass it on to Batul and this is the team. I'm just going to share that here. Some of us are here. And I'll just pass it on to Batul to share more about the venue and other logistics.
Yeah, thank you, Vinita. So this is where we're going to be staying at Dharmalaya Veer. For context, if anybody knows Veer, it's half an hour away from the landing site. Um, it's the process of choosing this place has also been a journey in itself. The place also has been quite intentionally chosen to really hold us to see if this can embody what it can hold, the embodying that we want to do, that we want to be able to do there. Um, it's this place was built by contractor Didi. That's her nickname. But so this entire place is built almost through natural materials, through cow dung, mud, wood. Um, no, I don't think any bricks were used in this. So it really holds and values the connection to the land that is there. And it's very community driven. Like the people who are working there, the local community, they are the stakeholders of this place, rather than someone else coming in. It's also uh, they act as our guides and are they act as our guides rather than just our hosts there. It really embodies our connection to the land, connection to community, which are really central pieces of the course that we are also offering here. We really want to center our bodies, which are a part of this world, which are a part of this land. And so this place has also been very intentionally chosen to meet the values that we are coming in with. So we're going to be staying here for the immersion. Um, from here, Binda, can you change slide? Yeah, this is the Dharmalaya team who really built and held us while we were there last year. There's Ashwini Bhaiya, I just want to name them. Bhagpati Didi, Haryali Didi, Pushpa Didi, Surveer Bhaiya, Rajkumar Bhaiya. And they are also the knowledge holders of this place. So we really look to them to understand and know what the cultural context of this place is or what the indigenous knowledge of these places are. The course book that Tanya was talking about. So the course book has been designed in a manner that the course components that were mentioned, they're all in this, but in a format which is more digestible, which is more reflexive in nature, which is more reflective. I filled out this course book twice, and every time something new has come up for me. Every time I've been able to access some other area which I was which has been quite hidden. So this course book also is a very living, breathing part of this process because this has also kept evolving. This has also been evolving with the course, with even like the transfusion of how this course came from Australia, and now it has been a collaboration between like the Indian team and the Australian team. And that is how also it's been continuously being adapted. So our what we're going to be focused on throughout this course is also you're going to find some pieces of it through this course book. So you'll be able to refer back to it and understand, be able to read something that's going to be in your hands. Now there is an online version. So basically we're going to be using this Moodle portal. I don't know if any of you know about this. But it has various components and you'll be able to, so there'll be access to various components and then resources will be added on to there. So to deepen your understanding of any particular component, so the components are written on the left hand side, if you can see, and with each of them, the associated resources or the coursebook material will be there for your reference. So this acts as a guiding post throughout the course, and to be honest, like it is a precious material to have in general, even after you've completed the course in some ways. Yeah. Anything that I'm missing out? Yeah. I'll hand it over to Tanvi now.
Yeah. I think the only thing I can add as well that it's also a living document, the Moodle, and there's a lot of resources that have been added, and then the Indian team has also added and contributed to it. And as we do more programs, we'll keep adding, and each participant will also bring in their perspective, and that will add to and somewhere shape and form this program, this course, the book and the Moodle as well. So I'm just going to, talk a little bit about the program fee. There's three fee rates, and the brochure also kind of talks about what all they include, but I'll just go through that. The fees inclusive of the 6 days that we're staying in Dharmalaya at the immersion. It also takes into account the 6 online group sessions that we'll be doing. The facilitation fee, the calls, the course book, a lot of thought, research has gone into that as well. But there's also a participant care kit, and last time it was really sweetly curated. There's all natural products that were helpful. Dharmalaya is a vegan campus, so it was helpful to have those as well. There's a lot of intention and preparation and research that has gone into the program, and hence I think the course fee also shows that. But and there's also a lot of thought that's gone into the fee. And so something that we really wanted to prioritize was to make it accessible. And I think a really important piece for that is to have scholarships available. And so just please know that if you are called to do this program, something calls out to you, but you're feeling like it's not accessible, do reach out. We are more than happy to find different ways, creative ways to figure out how we can make that work. There are scholarships available. If you have abundance and if you can pay the paid forward rate, that will also go a long way, because you will end up helping and creating in that community where you can help someone get access to it as well. And we can move on to the next. So these are some of the photos from the national and international communities. These are some of the photos from the international, the conference in Taiwan this year. And some of the communities, Australia has quite a robust outdoor health community, which kind of is coming together of different kinds of practitioners. There's also an international association for adventure and nature-based therapies. They have had, it's, I think, again, been ongoing as long as the conference. And there's about maybe 46 till the last time we checked, and more nations that are part of that committee. This year, what they have done, they meet usually 4 times a year. People from all over the world doing this work, committed to this work. And this year, they also, there's a shared vision to create an entity, a formal entity, which was formalized this year, where the hope is to be able to really think about how we can connect people within countries and outside of countries as well. It's about doing this work with good intentions, how to do this work consistently, ethically, safe enough, without oppressing, without appropriating. There's different working groups in that as well, and it hopes to offer grants. It hopes to then have the capacity to offer grants and scholarships for conferences and for people who will need it as well all over the world. A really exciting moment this year was also Tanya being one of the co-chairs. She's one of the co-chairs of that international community now. That was a really big and important moment, because till the last conference, Tanya was the only Indian showing up. And I think this time a few of us were able to go, and there was more representation. And we're hoping that the next time there'll be even more representation and the community just keeps on growing. So yeah, if there's anything I've missed. Oh, and these are some of the links. The next conference is in Kerry in Ireland. This one was in Taiwan in Asia. It was special. The next one is in 2028, and we're hoping that some of you will also be there, you know. Yeah. Okay. I'll hand over to Binita.
Thank you, Tanvi. I also want to name that all the people who went to the conference this year are also supporting in different working groups and may at some point support in representing India, and that would be a really exciting thing, and we would love for that to be an ongoing process. Coming to the program application, this is just some of the steps we are following, but just kind of reiterating them. They're already there on the brochure. If you go look at the brochure, can we just put the link again here on the chat? Yeah, we just put in the chat on the chat the brochure link. It's an extensive document sharing all the information that we've shared so far. A simple process right now is that once you have had a chance to look at the document, get the information, you can apply on this form. It takes about like 10-15 minutes to fill this form. Based on that, in a few days, one of us will reach out to you via WhatsApp or email for a call. Usually that call is for us to understand a little bit around the application form, after which we can confirm the registration and the payment or the deposit or the payment plan that you choose will be decided accordingly. And then once the enrollment is confirmed, you will be shared all the course materials and all the links and the learning portal. We plan to do this at some point by September, and it will be on a rolling basis. We understand that it requires people to plan, but since we intend to begin our stepping in October, we really invite people to apply as soon as possible so that it allows for this preparation and the one-on-one calls and any questions and supporting you might need leading up to the program. Once you have registered and paid for the program, we will set up a one-on-one call that I was speaking about earlier to deepen the process of intention setting and further kind of dreaming and imagining what your hopes and dreams are for the program. We are hoping to complete payment registrations like before 10 days prior to the immersion, and like I said, the first online group starts on October 3rd. Yeah.
I think we'd love to open up for questions. Just feel free to put something in the chat or unmute. Be nicer to hear your voices. And actually, I also want to just check, Vaishnavi, feel free to add anything in. We didn't hear so much of your voice, but those things come.
Hi, good morning. So my name is Clint, and I'm kind of really interested in nature-based practices and in basically indigenous ways of knowing also. So do you all have something which is like, in that kind of in indigenous practices and going back, like, also another question would be with regard to accreditation, like what body or what, like, with the course, like how how is it accredited by a any like a institute or something like that?
Yeah, hi, Clint. Actually, to answer you asked two questions. To answer your first question, that's actually the foundations of this work and how we approach it. So there'll be a lot of that throughout the immersion, definitely, and then even online. A lot of our resources. So on the Moodle platform, there are resources from around the world, and often they are exactly about this topic. A very firm stand that we take around our positionality in this work is that we really believe and know that Indigenous communities around the world have been operating in this way very naturally for centuries. And so we're not approaching this as something new, we're approaching it as the oldest way of being in relationship. And so that's actually the kind of the ground that we stand on. And there is a lot of, and therefore the focus on anti-oppressive practices, because it's about restoring dignity, respect, care for these communities that in the current context that we live in don't receive that. And that's actually why all of us are in this mess that we're in, honestly. So we feel really strongly about that. And we look at, for each of us to look not just to these communities, but within our own lineages and our own heritages is a big piece as well. Like, how do you, because that's another decolonizing process that can happen, right? How do I look back into my own ancestral and cultural lineage and heritage to find ways back into this work? So this course will also take you on that journey, to connect with your own roots, and also with care and respect, approach these communities who are so generously sharing despite the harm they've been through. Most often, I think for me, that's the most humbling part of this work, that despite being harmed, they so generously share their ways of being with us. So that will be like huge. That is the work, actually speaking. The second question was around
Accreditation for the course, like
Accreditation.
yeah. So we don't have a national association so far. These courses are actually a space for us to first even come into community together, to have a shared experience. We found is really important to bring us into that conversation, because this is a space where the conversations begin. So if you're part of this course, you are actually also really a part of kind of spearheading this with us. Like, it's really, we're almost in formalizing the sector. We're at the beginning of that journey. So there's a lot of room for people to come together and for us to actually create that together. And it's up to us how we want to do it. We have support from internationally as well, that we could borrow from frameworks, the way that they're doing things elsewhere, and then see what works for us. That's always the approach. But we have a lot of those relationships that we're really happy to invite people into, and that's what this course is. It's inviting you into existing networks, and then maybe we create something formal for us. But I think that's not very far away. We feel like it's coming closer. Right now, our focus is on like the international association, and just seeing how we formulate that, and then maybe we do a similar process nationally. This course right now, it's not a certification yet. There might be a time when we can look at the people who've been in this process and then come up with a more formal certification process. But right now, it's a learning experience, and it's a place to build a community. It's a place to connect with the national and international folks already doing this work for the last 20, 30 years. And there's a space for us to shape our own voice and take it to a global platform as well in this. Yeah. Does that answer?
yeah, thank you so much. The presentation was very nice and looking forward to learning from you all and working with you all here.
Yeah.
Can I add in something to Clint's question?
Totally.
Because that was, as a participant last year, that really stood out for me, to just see the team being so well integrated with the local community. It was really heartening, because I've never attended any program where people don't go beyond just thanking the people who cook for us or clean the space. Here, it was actually connecting with the village elders, talking to them, sharing, listening, and I I remember once where we just sat with Haryali Didi and we were just asking questions, and it was better than any podcast I've ever heard, because the kind of wisdom that they have, and unfortunately, it is also going away with the future generations. So there was grief in that. But it is just nice to be able to be in a space, to be able to listen to that wisdom that's still existing with the village elders or the local communities. And they were also so happy to just share, or make a meal for all of us. And, it was just, I felt like there was no need to talk about the importance of indigenous community and wisdom and all of it. It was practiced, it was alive throughout, not just as pieces of, okay, now we are going to go speak to village elder. Now we are going to speak, or, it was just kind of coming so naturally through, and that really sat with me so deeply even after coming back. It was just really amazing the way it was integrated in a very embodied way and not as a piece of information or reflection. So yeah, I just wanted to share that because that really was deep in my heart last year.
Thank
There is a question from Rahul. Will we be able to practice nature and adventure-based therapy post this course? Do you want to take that, Tanya?
Yeah. So it really depends, I think, on the pieces you already have. So this is also like in this course, in this format, we're not able to go into in-depth training around like group facilitation or certain therapeutic modalities. This is like, I think my biggest adventure so far has been in training myself to do this work, like picking up all these different pieces to do it. So it really depends. Like some of us, we're going to come with some of these pieces. So some people come in more from the outdoor side of things. So they have that training, but then they need to maybe grow in the mental health side or the group facilitation side. Maybe it depends. Like if you maybe want to partner with somebody, there are different ways to do it, right? Like I've chosen to pick up all those different training pieces. That's like a decade-long journey plus. But it can be also that you team up with others who have different skill sets. We will be focusing on helping you to find your scope of practice. So you will be figuring out that, okay, what's a baby step I can take from where I am now? What would be a too big a step? That's what scope of practice means. And so once you come up with your personal practice framework, we will also look at this is one thing we forgot to mention, that on the Moodle platform, AdventureWorks has very generously shared a lot of these safety and risk assessment templates that they've developed over the last decade. So real questions that you can sit with and ask yourself before any offering. So they have a lot of these templates that you can use in your work. So the answer to that question is really like, it depends. And I probably not as well. You'll probably go back with like more understanding of where you have some gap and what you can do to take care of them. So I think it's best not to come in expecting that you do this 3-month course and yeah, like you're ready to go. That's not what it is actually. I'll leave it to the other facilitators to add to that.
I think one piece to know is that is why we're talking a lot about the course book, because it's a reflective workbook, the course book actually, and that invites you to build your practice also with those reflexive questions and ideas. So each of that question asks you to think about, like, if you were to look in a more social perspective, how would you say plan a session, cater to the needs of, say, a particular population that you work with, but it is also something that we will be engaging in with experientially throughout the 3-month journey. And sometimes that is a really long process of reflecting and really sitting with, like, these are the places I'm having questions, and these are the places that I feel confident to maybe kind of engage with in a little way. We know a lot of folks who did the program last year who may not be full-fledged adventure-based therapists are practicing it in big ways, but they're trying it in little ways to kind of incorporate it in the practice that they feel most comfortable using it, and then coming back with questions or even sharing that work and sharing their learnings and insights around it. So we do see that it's going to be more of a creating and being creative around what works for me and what doesn't work for me at this point in time, and what cannot be adapted to where I am currently with either skills or just readiness and just maybe the place I am in different ways with this work, or even my own relationship with nature, because that is going to be another piece that will be integrated here.
I just wanted to say, I know we're past the hour. If you need to leave, we will have a recording for you. But we're also happy to just hang out a bit longer and take some questions. But yeah, just want to honor that and feel free to drop off. I also wanted to name that this is the foundations course, and right now, currently, we are with AdventureWorks developing a next sort of level or an advanced course as well. So that's actually something we're working on right now. We don't know how it will look yet for us in India, whether it'll be, right now there are some ideas around like the cohorts who've done the foundations course in Australia, because that's been running for now 3+ years. Coming together with others from India who've done this course and possibly are having an online journey together. Something like that. We're also thinking of offering more like specialized workshops on those who want to get into research or you want to work with specific populations. So we'll respond to the needs of the folks who complete this process. And then we have a lot of resources to put together that kind of further kind of professional development. Yeah. Sure, Priyanka.
Hello, thank you so much for holding the space. As I joined late, I could have missed a few things and I could be repeating a few questions, if that's okay. One is, is there a certainty that this course will be occurring again in the coming year? And second is, you mentioned about different payment plans, if any installments, anything that you can provide. I was wondering what kind of like payment plan are you all comfortable with?
So as of now, we offer this once a year, which is every October or November. And in terms of payment plans, we've actually been enjoying, we do this payment plan kind of offering even with our other programs. And we really enjoy coming up with a plan with the person and seeing like what would work for them. For us, it's important that before the immersion, like they've finished paying, because that's when we have to pay. Actually, most of this fee goes towards the immersion, right? We have a lot of payments to make, and we prefer making them ahead of time with local resources. And so that's usually when we're like, hey, can you please pay us before the immersion? But it's up to you how you want to spread that out. We understand, like most of us are mental health practitioners who've been incessantly like training ourselves over the last decade. We know that these trainings are a huge investment. They cost money, and it is a lot sometimes. So we want to work with you to figure out what would feel supportive. Yeah.
Thank you.
To become a certified outdoor therapist, it kind of depends who you want to be certified by, I guess. AdventureWorks used to follow a format where they had a kind of certificate process after completing a couple of courses. Right now, like I said, we're in a process of re-looking at that. Like there's a good chance that this is just the foundations course, and then we build on these foundations and eventually have some kind of certification process. We also want to, I think we are moving slow because we really want to make sure we're safe, and we want to make sure that we don't have big gaps in our process. We learn as we do this more. So we want to be in our integrity with that. So that's why we're not like handing out certificates to without really going through a very rigorous process, because as much as this is an embodied experiential thing, it's also like we need to get really nerdy, read a lot of research papers. Like there's a lot out there too, so we want to figure out how to integrate some of those nerdy bits that are important so that you stand really strongly in why you do what you do in your process. And therefore, it's important to be able to integrate some of that. So right now, I do know other colleagues who offer certification for the work. They're based in different countries, so you can look online. You'll find a few that have these different levels and stuff. But yeah, we are also working on that piece. Mainly because in India, there isn't a way for participants and clients to distinguish between who is trained and who is not. And so we recognize that it's important to help people recognize those who are certified, so that they are going to people who are safe. But yeah, like I said, you can tell we are really building the ecosystem for this. So that's what we're inviting you into also. There's room for you to contribute to that if you're a researcher or you're a person who is really good at thinking in terms of systems and setting those up. So essentially, it's an invitation to collaborate on that. Like in India, for example, I just wanted to add that one piece we're looking at is also how does caste interact with the work we do, right? Now this, you will not learn this in an international training. There are international certifications and trainings, but we find huge gaps in how do we integrate some of that? How do we work with this really diverse context we're in, and really complex also sometimes. So that's why it feels like a little longer journey towards a full certification. But one good thing is you'll find others to collaborate with through this. Like a lot of people, participants then offer workshops together, and that feels really fun because people are from all over the country, and it's nice to find someone in your city. Then you can start doing things together. So, yeah.
And also, Anne, I think you will also get to meet people who are utilizing nature in different ways, apart from outdoor therapy. So once you interact with people using, nature as an educator, with children, with disabled population or with corporate, so you would also realize what certification you really need and why you need it. And that will give you a better way of guiding through your own intuition and your own gifts, or what excites you, what brings aliveness and joy for you, rather than just going with a certification for the sake of it, kind of a
Right.
thing. So this would really open up your, earlier there was a list of various things that are being done with nature-based practices, right? So you could choose based on the interaction with people, because there are so many different variety of people coming into the immersion and this program. So that will open up your idea of what kind of certification you need. Get that in that one.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I just want to add that there will be space during the immersion at some point to even have these conversations and learn who's offering what, to some extent, not just when you're chit-chatting with participants, but as a more curated way where we want to make space for those exchanges to happen. Because if it's mental health professionals, educators, and researchers coming in, we recognize that there's already a lot of wisdom in the participation that comes in. We're not starting from scratch. We're saying that here's the wisdom here in the group with whatever we've learned from whichever modalities we come from. And this is an add-on, and see how it can be adapted. So I think that's also something. Sometimes it feels like it's a beginning of something we've never learned, but what we're really saying that it's there in our cultures, it's there in the indigenous knowledge, it's there in the practices, that you might find that you're already doing this work when we talk about this in some way or the other. Sometimes I found that when we talk about this work, intuitively there has been some inclination about having already adapted it to this work, there might just be more language and perspective to that. So just wanted to share that.
And while this particular course is kind of this is a sister course of the Adventure Works Australia course, we've also developed it after doing like trainings in Spain, in Taiwan, with Belgian colleagues. So there's like a cross-pollination already that has happened. So we've integrated all of that. So we're really, that's also been very enriching. So there are pieces that we've added in. So some of us have also, we had a Belgian colleague visit and do a training here 2 years ago. So some of us have been to that training and we're also like, hey, let's bring some of that. And so we really kind of bringing together very different styles as well from people we've learned from. So it's not, and also if you are to go to the course in Australia, which we also facilitate a scholarship to, you can inquire about that as well with us. It will be very different. So it's like each experience is really shaped by the people who are there and holding that space. Any other questions before we close? I'm aware we are quite over time and just really want to appreciate and thank all of you for being here on this Saturday morning with us and spending this time. And yeah, it's nice to see you all. You can just check if there's any last questions. Okay, maybe we can close. Benita, is there like something small for us to step out of this space?
Yeah, I would just invite people to kind of, we've been sitting for an hour, so I just invite people to get up if it feels okay to you and allow yourself to give like some stretches and support to your body. It's always useful when you've kind of taken in a lot of information. So imagining reaching up to the sky if that supports you, or widening your body on the sides, finding spaces in the gaps around you, trying to touch the floor if that feels good. And just inviting you to support. And you can also hug yourself, whatever feels supportive. And once again, inviting connection to our breath. Just deeply grateful for everyone for being here. Thank you so much. And we hope some of you find resonance and we see you soon. Thank you. We will have a recording of this, so in case some